Alright, welcome back. We are at the track again today. We're going to be progressing today's session based off of the work capacity session that I did last week. So you can go back a few videos. I think the title's something like Build Conditioning Like an Athlete, something like that. That was the intro week to this training block that I'm doing. This week is going to be week 2, so we're progressing off of what we did last week. And in terms of work capacity, the way that you progress work capacity is you end up doing more work. So today's focus is going to be adding some volume, the sled sprints that we're going to do today. So last week we did 10 sets of 10 with 50 kilos on the sled, 5 sets of 20 with 25 kilos on the sled. So I got 2 ideas on how I'm going to progress this. I'm either going to add volume to the 20s, so maybe do 7 or 8 repetitions on the 20s versus doing the 5 that we did last week, or I'm going to extend that distance out and drop the weight on the sled again, so maybe do some 30s to end today with like 10 to 15 kilos on the sled, and then try to add volume just by adding in some longer sprints at the end. Everything with the sled we're doing at 90% effort. We're not going all out on these sleds because we're going to be doing a lot of volume with short rest periods, so anywhere between 30 to 40 seconds after each of the reps, and then we'll rest about 2 to 3 minutes after the set of 10s before we start the 20s, and then if we go on to 30, we'll rest about 2 to 3 minutes after the 20s before we go on to the 30s, or we'll just add more volume to that sets of 20 there. So rather than just being a boring video of the same stuff that I've already put, I decided today I'm going to break down what my training split has looked like for the past, 2 to 3 years, and break that down kind of on like a weekly basis on how I like to program for myself in terms of still being able to be big, fast, strong, and feel athletic. Alright, 10 meters are done. 10 reps on those. Feel good. 50 kilos. But the real reason you guys are watching today's video is to get the training split. So, first off, let me say, make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe. Last week, we got about 330 new subscribers just in that week. So I appreciate everyone who's subscribing, liking the videos, showing some love. It's cool to see that you guys are getting some sort of value out of the content that I'm putting out. But let's get into it. So, training split. Throughout a week, I am going to always have some variation of sprinting, some variation of jump work, plyometrics, lower body sessions, and upper body sessions. So my week on Mondays always starts at the track. Today's Monday. I'm at the track. Even though this is a work capacity, kind of doing a little bit of conditioning, it's still very specific towards what I want to do, which is going to be running fast 40s, maybe 60s, whatever it might be. So that's always going to be the focus on a Monday, is get to the track, do some speed work, and then work on acceleration is mainly what the focus on Mondays are. So shorter sprints, sled work, something. In terms of acceleration, I count acceleration anywhere between 5 meters up to about 25 to 30 meters. So that's going to be the range at which I'm going to be sticking towards on a Monday. And depending on what the phase is, so if we're working on building towards a 40-yard dash, if we're working on building towards a 60 meter, that volume and intensities on those days might vary a little bit, but overall it's going to be the same. Short accelerations, some resistance work, focusing on that first 10, 20, 30 meters of whatever it is that we're focused on sprinting. So overall, Mondays, track days, acceleration focused, that's going to be it. So I'm gonna get into my 20s, and then we're gonna get into what I like to do Tuesdays and Wednesdays throughout the week. Are done. I am going to end today's session with some 30s at an even lighter sled. So we have a variable resistance for today's sets and reps. The 10s were done with 50 kilos on the sled. The 20s were done with 25 kilos on the sled. And I'm thinking I'm going to do some 30s now with 15 kilos on the sled. I was thinking about 10, but I thought 10 might not be sufficient enough for what I still want to feel the resistance and make it feel like I have to maintain a forward angle as I'm running through. I feel like if I do a 10 kilo sled, then it'll pop me upright too much and it'll become just kind of like a minimally resisted run. So we'll do 15 kilos, see how it goes, and then if we need to make an adjustment, we'll make that adjustment next week. As for the training split, Mondays, we discussed it already at the track. Tuesdays, I always like to do a lower body day focus in the gym. My lower body days are always going to have some sort of jump variation, whether it's seated box jumps, plyometrics, single leg jumps, whatever it might be. We're going to start off the session with a jump variation, move into some sort of explosive power-based movement. So for me, 90% of the time, that means an Olympic variation. So I have been previously doing a lot of snatches on my Tuesdays. I've been kind of moving away from doing so much of the Olympic lifts and exploring with new variations on like trap bar jump shrugs, loaded variations on jumping that I can incorporate into the program, because I have a lot of people who are either not experienced or not comfortable enough with the Olympic lifts, or just flat out don't want to do them, but they still want to do my programs. So I'm trying to now incorporate ways where we can get a very similar stimulus by doing other movements. So I've been exploring with that a little bit on my Tuesdays. And then Tuesdays for me, my main focus on the lift is going to be a variation on a squat, and then go into my accessory work where I focus on hitting the hamstrings, hitting the glutes. So GHDs, Nordics, whatever it might be, those are kind of my main focus on the accessory work. And then since Monday and Tuesday, we've done sprinting, lower body work in the gym. Wednesdays, I always like to do upper body work in the gym. My upper body focus is very general. I usually have some variation of bench press, and then I focus on hitting my back in terms of like what my accessory focus is. So bent over rows, pull up, chin up variations, whatever it might be. That's kind of the focus that I have for my Wednesday sessions. Nothing super specific on that, because I just do upper body to kind of balance things out. I'm more focused on my sprinting and my lower body days. So I just hit the same sets and reps on some of the movements on my upper body days as I did on my lower body days. That's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Now I'm going to hit off my 30s, and then I'll come back and I'll explain what my Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays look like throughout a week. Felt good. Did 15 kilos. 15 kilos felt like I wanted it to feel. I was able to kind of maintain that forward angle, really feel like I was driving on each of those steps, and then be able to maintain kind of that 90% intensity that I was looking for. So overall session, 10 sets of 10, 50 kilos on the sled, 5 sets of 20, 25 kilos on the sled, 2 sets of 30, which puts me over what I wanted to go in terms of volume. I wanted to hit 250 meters total volume, because last week I did 200, so I thought a 25% increase would be great, but we got up to 260, which isn't too bad. Next week I'm going to try to get 300, and probably do that by taking off some of the 10s and adding that to the 20s and the 30s. So probably only do 6 to 8 on the 10, and then probably do 6 reps on the 20s, and then 4 reps on the 30s. Try to math it out to where it'll equal up to about 300 total meters. That's the session for today, but we're not done with the video. We are going to break down what the rest of my training week has looked like. Mondays, track. Tuesdays, lower body. Wednesdays, upper body. Thursdays, I go back to the track. My Thursdays are focused on longer distance sprints, some max velocity work, trying to hit different intensities than I did for my previous day at the track. It can be a variation of a number of different things depending on what I'm focused on. For example, this training block that I'm on right now, my Thursdays have a little bit of acceleration work and a little bit of max velocity work in there. So my Thursdays are always going to have some sort of max velocity stimulus in it, because that is a very easy thing to lose if you don't maintain that stimulus. Regardless of if you are in a team sport or just training for fun, max velocity should be something that you maintain, especially throughout your season. If you don't hit those stimulus very often throughout the season, a lot of guys will get towards the mid part of their season, later end of their season, and feel like they're losing a step or they're not as explosive that they used to be. And a lot of times it's because they've stopped specifically training max velocity and they've used either their games or practice as a substitute for that, which I don't believe you are going to be able to maintain that sort of quality by just doing hard sprints in a practice. Always have some sort of dedicated time towards max velocity work, which for me, that's going to be on Thursdays. Right now, I'm doing those fly-ins, so keeping it very short, 10-meter build, 10-meter fly, being able to try to maintain some sort of max velocity stimulus, and then we're going to increase the amount of volume and intensity we do on that. Same thing I like to do on a Friday as I do on a Tuesday. Following up a sprint session, I like to get into the gym, do another lower body focused day. It's going to start off the same way as it does on a Tuesday, some sort of jump, some sort of explosive movement, and then get into my main lift for that day. Right now, my main lift on Thursdays is a trap bar deadlift, and I like doing a trap bar deadlift just because I don't necessarily like doing squat variations twice a week. When I was bobsledding, I had a back squat day and a front squat day, and there would be some weeks where it was a heavy week, and by the time I got to my second squat day, I already felt pretty beat up. Trap bar allows me to focus on concentric force. I can drop the bar if I want. I don't need to load it eccentrically, so I can go heavy on it and still feel pretty fresh and not feel like I'm destroying myself too much throughout the week. So I like to use that trap bar variation on my second lower body day. And then my accessory work is going to be a lot more unilateral focused. Hit the hamstrings again, maybe do some split squat variations or lunge variations, whatever it might be. That's going to be kind of the focus for the Thursday. No, so now for Fridays, sorry. So following my lower body day on Friday, upper body day again on Saturday. Because my first upper body day is usually some sort of bench press variation as my main focus, my Saturdays, I like to do some sort of overhead press variation as my main focus. And for me, that's following some sort of either push press, push jerk, or jerk variation up and overhead, something I can load heavily and move very quickly. So it kind of serves a double purpose of being an overhead movement, but being more explosive as well. And then again, my accessory work is just kind of general. I like to hit my back and focus more on that on Wednesdays for my first upper body, and then my second upper body day I like to do more shoulders and arms. So overhead press is my main variation. Shoulder work could be lateral raises, dips, some sort of pull-up variation, something that's going to incorporate that same range as we do our accessory movements. So that's split. Again, let's break it down. 6 training days every single week, broken down into Monday is a sprint, Tuesday is lower body, Wednesday is upper body, Thursday is sprint number 2, Friday lower body number 2, Saturday upper body number 2, and then Sundays are going to be rest. So it's a lot of frequency in terms of I'm training 6 days out of the week, but there's a lot of variation in breaking it up to where I'm not feeling over fatigued at any one point in time, throughout that week so I can go and train more often, which I love to do. I love to train, so the more often I can train, the more fun that I have throughout the week training. I get one full recovery day, which is a Sunday, which I don't do anything. I just chill, eat, relax, and then get ready for Monday. And I've been doing that sort of a split for probably, well, actually since I retired from bobsledding about 2 years ago. So the past 2 years, that split has been the split that I've ran with, and I've had a lot of success. I'm still seeing personal bests on both my sprinting, on my jumps, on lifts, on everything. It allows me to hit intensities, allows me to have a lot of variation by going to the track, going to the gym, upper body days, lower body days, and everything kind of sprinkled in throughout the week. If you want to see exactly how I like to program some things, you can subscribe to my monthly program. It's $39 a month, follows that same split. It follows my exact programming as well, although I'm about 4 to 8 weeks ahead of the subscribers. That way I can kind of run through the program, make the adjustments that I need to, and then deliver a solid program to those people that are subscribed. Or you could purchase one of the PDF programs that I have available as well. Make sure to like and subscribe. And then quick little update, microphone has been ordered, got it on eBay. I'm gonna have a stupid little clip on for you guys so you guys can stop complaining about the audio, and that should be here sometime before the end of the month.